material fast. So then,
Are they always as thin as that one?
yeah, they're always about that, yeah. So,
If it was any, it's got such a heavy weight on it, if it was any bigger, you wouldn't be able to push it through with any.
You're taking big cuts each time.
Big cuts.
Sorry, keep blocking your shots.
It's not like a, it's not like a jack plate or a really plate. It's nothing like that.
so once you get the fitting round, and it doesn't take long, once you reach that part, and you reach that part, you pretty much stop, right? So I'm not gonna do the whole thing, but to do this whole side, it might take me like 5 minutes. Not all that long. Once you have it, you can take your smooth plane and just clean up the facets, because the deeper the plane, the wider those facets are. So when you move your hand around, you bump, 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 bump. The lighter the cut, smaller that is, and then you can take your sander and sand it pretty quickly.
And there's a line along the side just as a guide? I
Yeah.
see you have a-
Yeah, there's a line along the side as a guide. One is, I put it there for planing, but I also put it there because I took my bandsaw and bandsawed it off. Bandsawed it before I brought it here.
What kind of sander would you use to
Actually, I have a Festool sander, and I can put a soft pad on it,
Okay.
and they're pretty good. There are different types. Mine has a dual mode to it. So one mode, it takes off a lot of material.
It's a rotator.
Yeah, yeah. So, if were you able to get a drill bit in here? Good.
It's up there, right side.
All right. No, it's not. You know what it is, I forgot the drill. All right, so, yeah, the smaller one, 3-inch one.
Oh,
Yeah, the smaller one. All right, move this way. All right, so I may not do the whole thing here. I'll just kind of show you. By the way, anybody using these?
The lever clamp?
Yeah, it's a keep. Click clamp. Click clamp. I got these two. I use these 100 times a day. That,
One hand.
I very seldom ever recommend the tool. But if you see these, get them. You'd be amazed. I'm trying to put something together. I can one hand click it and then put other clamps on. They're amazing. Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. So this is a number 3 gouge. If you were a serious carver, you would have a lot of different tools. So
Just upside down?
I'm just gonna.
Okay. There you go. You're on.
Yeah. Oh.
Do you want to get in closer?
Great Scott.
So we can chop a little bit here.
Arrange your camera. Bring your handle down. Here's the camera. Other way.
I'm trying to focus it.
That's the camera, guys.
Gotta focus.
Oh, there's a focus on the lens here.
So what is this now? You mentioned it was distracted by the camera. You had a gouge and a couple of scooches?
Yeah,
You could probably come in closer, come in right behind the,
right. So
Keyboard.
it's just a left and right hand skew chisel.
It's too
They
far.
come in handy.
It's not
a nice
focusing.
little mallet. And
Yeah, just leave it like that.
I would normally have a
I got all these directors.
I would also get in there with a great chisel, just here, but,
So we can plug both of these in,
bring
there's
one.
only one.
And you set the curve based on the chisels, or do you have enough chisels to keep it sharper if you wanted?
It's a good idea to base it on your chisels, but you'd
Or
be
you get a
surprised
from
because
this to go to the projector.
if you cut here and move it in the same cut, it will still stay fair. So if I was a carver, which I'm not, they have 200 to 300 carving tools, easily. Some have
Picture's sharp.
350 carving tools. Because when they have a certain curve, they're boom, 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 boom on that curve, and you pick up another tool on that curve. So
How can you say you're not a carver?
I'm not. A carver is, I'm more of a sculptor
It's lens
than a
cover.
carver.
It's lens cover.
So,
Something here on
so you can, you know,
Lens cover.
get that little bit of work, go deeper. It's just to show you the technique. It needs
It has an autofocus and then spot, but I
Yeah,
can't figure out how to
pass it
switch it
around.
right now.
It's not quality. It needs a bit of work. So, I did mention, okay, so what do we, so can we go to the next slide?
Yeah, see, we got, this is doing this.
So that's what.
Split screen.
I'll take these
I work in IT, I'm an IT guy.
Okay. This is another table with glass kind of coming through the piece. This is a hard table to make, and when the client chose this design, I like, how am I gonna make it? But it was fun to make, and for this client, I did like 20 pieces along maybe 12 years, two houses, a couple residences, and actually the husband, Joel, liked this piece the best. It wasn't my favorite. It's not my wife's favorite, but anyway, so yes.
So, on that last piece,
Yeah,
we're assuming that it's a solid piece of glass?
yeah.
Do you drill holes through?
Yeah, you can get the holes drilled.
Okay.
They use a diamond drill, and they have an interesting drill press that's on suction cups. Sort of like the ones they use for metal, but they're magnets, but it will stick there. But you have to have your pattern.
So did you ever think about using one of the super strong magnets and putting a magnetic fastener?
No, but that's a good idea. At the time, drilling holes and putting dowels through both pieces worked. Although I glued the dowel in the top piece, and you could push it down. So if you ever had to replace the glass, you could do that, or whatever. There was a way of getting it off. Yeah. Okay. All right. This is a little table. I think I mentioned that a lot of times I like to do very simple things. And they're a lot of fun. And I have this in my TV room. I use this every day. This little table every day. It's right here. Didn't take long, but it was fun. And it represents taking a wood top and elevating it off the base a little bit, providing some negative space, which works out well. Okay, we're gonna keep going, because believe it or not, I got a lot of stuff to show you. So, this is a table I made years ago. And I had a solo, actually I had a couple solo shows, but I had a solo show and I borrowed it back. Because the person who bought it, I was in South Street Seaport representing a wooden boat with a couple friends, and we had a workbench and we were working. And it was a beautiful weekend, and we had had rain for like 3 weeks. It was a Memorial weekend. Hundreds of thousands of people went by. The person who bought this is somebody I know. I sailed back from Bermuda with them. We sailed the sailboat back. I worked with him, Bruce. Bruce said, Kathy really likes the table. I said, Bruce, it's for sale. They bought it, and this is when it was 20 years old. It was still good. But the reason I'm showing it, those other tables, the tops were either above it or in it. This one it's incorporated with it. So a lot of times the joinery here is kind of, it could be tricky. I'm just going to show these two. One technique I've used is I dovetail, right? Then I have another set of dovetails. I lock them together, and these get glued as a center. And then I can glue other wood here for doing a sculpture, right? So the base is really sculptural. But that's the part that really locks in. Then I have another piece here, and it could have a 45, so you don't see anything out here. When I had a show, I had a table like that. And one of the it was at this show was at NJIT, and one of the professors there, one of the design professors, right? I kind of got to know him, and really nice guy. He did a lot of work with Michael Graves, obviously before he died. And he said, "So how'd you get this leg here and this?" I said, "There's 2 sets of dovetails under there, buried in there." He said, "And you hit them?" I said, "I hardly ever show a dovetail, but I do a lot of dovetails. Because to me, it would take the eye off the whole piece. If you had dovetails sticking through, all right, this piece, we're going to carry it, we're going to put a blanket there. Yeah. So this piece.
Of course.
There's a lot of blankets underneath.
Yeah, I got one here. I'm just going to have to turn it upside down.
Hiding the dovetails, mirror over the top of it, is that what you're doing?
I don't normally show a dovetail. I mean, in drawers, if you open them up, you'll see dovetails.
Right, but how do you hide, are you hiding them by veneering over the?
No, well, in that case, solid, like 3/4 or 1 inch wood, cut out of 45 a lot of times. So that's just my substructure. That's my substructure. This table, not yet, I want to show a bit of it. This table, you can see there's inlaid, this is actual stone. This is actual stone. Now, I met a guy, I was showing at the ICFF show, and he was showing, and he had a patent on this stone inlay. And he was using it for stairs and stuff, and he had lots of different designs. So I picked up his brochure and he started talking to me. I said, well, you know, it could be good for me for some of my furniture. We got to talking, and then he asked if I could design something so he could show at next year's ICFF show. So we worked it out, and I came up with this. But he's in California, and I'm in New Jersey, and I'd have to send it to him so he can put the stone in. Not inlay, I had to do that. But he could cut the stone and put it in. And then he was going to ship it with the rest of his stuff for the ICFF show. And then at the end of the ICFF show, I'd keep this table, and that was our deal, right? So, I'd like to show you a little bit about the construction first. Now, yeah, we're gonna take it apart in a minute. So talking about dovetails, somebody mentioned dovetails, there's a dovetail there, right? And it's got a good sized bolt there. Now, the centerpiece is, I think it's poplar with walnut veneer ironed on and then ebonized. And I'll show you some ebonizing. Let's go back. All right, screwdriver. Yeah. Now, yeah, let's get that. Now, try and put yourself in my position. Everything has to be finished, smooth, done. Now you have to route into it. All of this is done. Veneer, done. Now I have to route into it and make sure that there's no wiggles.
Finish on it?
With finish on it, yeah. He's not gonna finish after it's done. I'm sending it to him. He's gonna cut these corners, put the stone in. And I wanna send it to him, so it should be where I can take it down, kind of put it in a box and send it. So I came up with this. This has, can you see at the end, it has metal fasteners? So it has metal fasteners there, right?
Right.
Okay, so those are good. I always have those, I always have a few different types of metal fasteners. They come in handy. So obviously the mated part is there, screwed in, right?
Where do you find those?
What's that?
Where do you find those? Where do you buy them?
Well, I buy them without water, but a lot of companies have. Out water was bought out by Richelieu or Richelieu. They're in Lincoln Park. But I'm sure you can find
Lee Valley has
Yeah.
connectors all over. They've got all different types, and they're really, it's always good to have something in the shop. It's always good to have something in the shop. Now, here's what I came up with. I came up with this jig not only for the base, I had to do another jig for the top. You see that?
Yep.
So, to tell you a bit about this jig, it's just a router with a template guide, right? I had two template guides, so I knew how wide to make it. What I really did is I made a piece of wood here, exactly that template guide, once I figured that out. But now, I want to route this, right? So, let me just move this over, that over there. Put this over here and try not to drop it. Okay, good. All right, so, I had two routers. One, maybe, a 7/16 pit plunge router. So I said I should take this gusset off and do this side. Put that gusset back. Take this gusset off and do here and put that back. So 3 points were always held, so it worked out just right. Then I had a second router. So once I took this gusset, I took the first router, plunged, picked up the second router, plunged, put the gusset back. Do the same thing here. Keep it going. Do the same thing for the top.
So Glenn, the first router was just to kind of hog out most of the material?
Yeah,
The
hog
second
out
one,
most of the material.
yeah, just to get a clean cut.
It gives you a better cut. And actually, the person who did the stone, he liked one company router bit, so he sent me the finished router bit. And the stone has the slightest kind of angle to it, so when you don't glue it and you press it in.
Wow.
So it's kind of cool. So that's this. We can put the top, actually set it up and put the top on it.
His designs, all this stuff, that's amazing. I'd be lost without a plan.
Oh, you guys use figure eights?
Tabletop?
You guys use these, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So these have figure eight spots. I took them out because transporting here is scratchy. One of them. So we can grab
Okay, 30-foot cord. That's not 30 feet.
It's 15.
Where's the 30-footer?
I couldn't find one.
You said you wanted a 30-foot cord.
So the top, yeah, top's that,
I saw him at the last show.
and obviously line up the figure eights.
This is what I was able to find.
I mean, how precise is the depth of that cut have to be?
Very precise.
So that the stone,
Very, very
tiny little bit of
precise.
movement, that stone's not gonna be proud or obsessed.
Naturally, I had stone, he sent me stone, right? And I tried it on mock-up pieces until I was pretty happy with it. And you could take most of your calipers, have a depth caliper. So I use that too, a few calipers, yeah.
And the change in humidity affect the snugness of the stone?
No, we use this in our living room, my wife and I, and it's about 7 years old now, I guess. So it's worked out pretty well. Yeah.
You said that he presses the stone into the...
Yeah, yeah. Once you do this and
Well, I
just
think it bends the fibers and that holds it like a nail.
yeah, it might, but it does hold. And I asked him that. No glue? He said no glue. It's your invention.
You wanna take it off?
Yeah. And what we do is, well, you can.
Maybe ask him. But you know as soon as you ask, it's gonna be. You know as soon as you
Glenn, how did
ask.
you flatten
Take a
the
break,
bottom of the
become a
channel?
break.
How did you make sure that that depth was even all the way? It was just the
Just with
router?
the base, yeah.
Just the router, okay.
Yeah.
Crafts.
Actually, I had one new router, right, that I had.
I know.
And when I started to do this on a mock-up, I said I should have two routers. So I wound up, the other router, this is a plunge router, it has a plunge base. The other router is bigger with a plunge base. So I bought another router. You could always use another router. But it had a really nice base, a really nice tool. You can always use another router. All right, let's look at the
Glenn, when you want, we can stop and we can take a break and then kind of continue on.
Yeah.
And then one other question I have for you. So the base obviously is tapered, and ultimately you have to have a nice flat surface. So what did you do to kind of create that taper inside before you did your veneering?
I'm going to show you.
Okay.
Don't we have our process? Yeah. So go back even further. All right, this is the process of that table. So obviously, I veneered these in my veneer press. And then I cut this at the angle, I think it was like about a 2.5 degree angle. And this is solid. And then this is the NDF for the top. So kind of, and this is the router, obviously the router jig. And that's it routed. That's my test pieces. And that's it done. I had more process, but I could kill you with all these process pictures. Right. So this table here. All right. Each one of these tables represents a couple techniques that I think you might be interested in. this. Okay, so this is kind of, this is it's a mock-up leg that I mocked